Okay, all right. Well, hello, family. My name is Ceola. I'm with the Pray, Travel, Eat family. So, disclaimer, this is my first time ever going live. I am still trying to figure this out. But today I just wanted to do a short live about the pros and cons of living in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico as an African American expat. So, disclaimer again, this is my first time going live. I'm neurodivergent, ADHD, all of that. So, I'm kind of scattered brain, but I have my notes here. So, I'm going to try to be as organized as possible and try to articulate myself in an orderly manner. So, just a little background about me and my family. I'm a mother of three. I served 21 years in the US Army from 2000 to about March of 2021. And it was just always my dream to travel and possibly live abroad after my retirement from the military. And so I wasn't able to travel the first year that I retired because I was very sick from a hormonal birth control that I was given by the VA. And plus, I had a death in the family. My son's father passed away. My husband got sick. So, oh, and I had COVID. So 2021 was just like really a bad year for me. But by the year of 2022, my health got better. And so I said, well, come on, family, let's roll out, let's travel. So one of the first places that we went to visit was Ghana, West Africa. So I took my husband. Um, okay, so that's a whole story in itself. So I won't get into our business, but my three children and my mom. We went to Ghana. We were supposed to have been there for 3 months because I really wanted to see what it was like to like live there. Um, I had all well, I had been to Ghana once before in 2018. I did a solo trip by myself. I loved it. And I always thought that I wanted to go back and live there. So I called myself doing a test drive, but we didn't last 3 months. We only lasted a month because my children were like just bugging. And one of my kids, he's autistic, so he was having a hard time adjusting. They love the food there, and they did the same stuff they do in America. They went to the mall, they watched Netflix. They went to the store every day eating candy, chips, snacks, Fanta, you name it. But I don't know, they it was different for them. And I'm just like, okay, y'all are around all black people that look like y'all and it's safe here. Like, how could you not like it? But it's all good. So we came back to America. And me and my husband at the time, we had discussed wanting to try out Rwanda. And so we decided, okay, you know what? We're going to go to Rwanda, but this time we don't want to be paying rent in America and have expenses while we're traveling. So we sold a lot of stuff. And I made a lot of stupid moves. You know, we turned in our cars or whatever. Like, we didn't even sell the cars. We just turned them in because we were just like so over America. Like, and that's just not the way to do that. That, if you're going to travel abroad, there is a smart way to do it. And I'm going to say, I think we didn't do some things as smart. If I could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have sold all my stuff and turned in my car and all of that. But I am going to do another video on that. Again, if I could do it all over, I would do it differently. But then my mom couldn't travel with us. My mom ended up getting sick. She had some blockage in her heart, blood clots in her legs. So she was like in and out of the hospital for like a whole month. And so, but by that time, we had done sold and gave away stuff and turned in our cars. So I mean, it was like no turning back. We told our landlord that we weren't like gonna extend our lease, and we just kind of stood on that. So we decided not to go to Rwanda. We decided that we were just gonna go somewhere close to the US. So we chose to go to Mexico at the last minute. At the last minute. So we put my mom in assisted living and a rehabilitation center because she had gotten pretty sick, and we weren't able to physically take care of her ourselves. So we put her back in our hometown of Pensacola, Florida, and we proceeded to Costa Rica. We figured, okay, it's close to the US. We can jump on a flight and we can be back in the US in 2 to 3 hours. And so we stayed in Costa Rica for about 3 months. My son, his behavior got really bad, probably worse. Actually, it was worse than Ghana. So hold on. You know what? It was pretty bad. Okay. So we came back to the US and we tried to start over, but it was so hard and so expensive. And I'm like, oh my God, we can't do this right now. We need to go back out of the country and we need to stack up some money and then try to come back, in about a year or so. So I had already been looking into Mexico. I was a part of some Facebook groups, some Black expat groups out of Merida. I had friends that told me about Merida. So I was like, okay, I think we're gonna go to Merida. So we did. We did. And Merida was really cool. It was really cool at first. Of course, everywhere you go, there's gonna be a honeymoon phase. There's a honeymoon phase in everything, in new cities, relationships, all of that. So that honeymoon phase, man, we really enjoyed it. I mean, we went out to eat, to the beaches. There were a lot of activities and stuff, but I do want to get into the pros and the cons of living in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico, because I get a lot of questions. So I'm gonna try to give you a few pros and cons, and I'm gonna try to elaborate the best that I can. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to forget some stuff. Like I'm really bad about like doing brain dumps when I leave a location because I'm so focused on assimilating to my new location that I start to forget my old location. So okay, anyway. So let's start with the pros. Okay. So number one, Merida was very safe. So if you ever do any research on Merida, you will see that it is the safest city in Mexico and it's the second safest city in all of North America. There's like little to no crime. Like you can literally leave your cell phone sitting on a table somewhere and walk over and grab some ketchup or refill your drink at a restaurant and walk back and your cell phone will still be there. Um, I mean, it's so safe like that. And I really enjoyed that because being in America, we know that America has a high crime rate. And I was able to just turn off that paranoia. I didn't have to worry about police brutality. Hell, I didn't have to worry about black on black crime. Everybody always emphasizes on police brutality, but they forget even black people are killing each other. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have all them high murder rates and high drug crimes and all that mess. So that felt good. I got to really just kind of unwind, let my hair down, and just relax. I felt so safe. Like it was just sometimes it was so unreal of how safe it was. Okay. So number two, it was beautiful. It's a tropical environment, palm trees, um, colorful flowers. You see your iguanas and your bugs and stuff. Maybe that's a con. Matter of fact, let me put that down as a con. But I just think it's always interesting to see these big old tropical bugs. It just makes me feel like I'm just living the island Caribbean life or something, even though Merida is not an island. I'm just saying. But it was really beautiful. Like it's lush. I know one thing that I have an issue with in America is that during the winter months, I get what's called SAD, it's seasonal affective disorder. And when things start turning brown and dying and stuff like that, I don't like that. It really depresses me. It puts me in a gloomy mood. So I mean, my mood was just as far as weather is concerned, my mood was just always, for the most part, cheerful. The sun was always shining. My backyard looked like a tropical oasis. We had a pool. It was just so beautiful. Like I could just look out my window or go sit in my yard or just look outside. And if I was feeling any kind of way, just being outside just really lifted my spirits. And I really don't think I'm meant to live in America. Unless it's like maybe Miami or the Keys or something, but that's expensive. But I love the tropical environment. I'm from Florida. I'm from Northwest Florida, and we have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And I've always liked that tropical environment. I don't like cold weather. I don't like winter weather. Fall is okay, but yeah, you know, I just don't like the cold weather. So, okay. So next, number three, the people. The people were really nice, very helpful, very warm as far as socializing. Now, doing business with them, that's another thing. So, as a matter of fact, I think that I have that written down on my cons. So they were just really nice people. If we ever needed help with anything, directions or anything, they were very helpful. They were very patient, very loving, very kind, and so I'll miss that about them. Um, Number four, the cost of living was lower in with most things such as housing. You could get a three-bedroom, two bath for $500 a month, depending on where what neighborhood you moved in. Um, I had rented my mom a two-bedroom, one bath, and her rent was only, and it was a house. Her rent was only like $350 a month. So that's a whole nother story. She ended up getting sick and never did actually move into it or whatever. So I just ended up turning the house back in to the landlord. But I mean, even our house was $1,500 a month, depending on the US conversion rate. So in pesos, which is the currency for Mexico, our rent was 25,000 pesos. So some months I only paid like maybe the mid 1300s, most months 1500. But we had a pool, it was three bedroom, three and a half bath. All the bedrooms had their own bathrooms, full bathrooms. Guest bathroom downstairs. Like I said, we had a pool. Our yard was very tropical. We had palm trees, beautiful, luscious, colorful flowers. We lived in a nice community. You can actually see that. I have a video of our home and our neighborhood um, on our channel. So make sure you go check that video out. Routine medical appointments are pretty inexpensive, like going to the cardiologist or going to a doctor's visit, 40 bucks, gynecologist, $40 per visit. I think that was about the average amount that we paid for doctor visits was $40. So again, this is routine doctor appointments. Hospitalizations, I'm going to get into that with the cons, okay? The doctors are really good out there. The medical is excellent. They're very high tech, very advanced. I mean, even if you can't go to an ER, the doctor will actually come to your house. We had the doctor come to the house many times, even to the point to where the doctor sent out people to do X-rays at our houses. We had other diagnostic testing at the house. The lab people came out to the house. Y'all, I'm really country. Yeah, the lab people, the lab technicians, they came out. It was just amazing. And being as though that my mom is older, that really helped out with them coming to the house. Or if we just really didn't feel well and just if it wasn't an emergency, but we just really didn't feel well, it was just so convenient for the doctor to come by. So it was amazing. Let's see here. Ubers were really inexpensive. You could go pretty far and pay about $10 for an Uber. It definitely cheaper than the US. That I do appreciate. Medication was cheaper. You don't need prescriptions for a majority of medications. Now, for narcotics, you do narcotics. Is that what it's called? Y'all know the heavy pain medicine. You will need a prescription for that. But for most stuff, you go to the pharmacy and you just buy it. You don't have to wait for your doctor to put it in. You don't, it's not like that. It's so easy, so simple. And going back even to the routine doctor appointments, sometimes you can get next day appointments, you can get same day appointments. They have a lot of urgent care centers. Of course, you go in there same day. And what they do have, they have a lot of clinics that are inside of the pharmacies, and some of them are free. And some of them you can just tip the doctor, just give him whatever you think he deserves or whatever. But that was, I remember one time, I think we probably paid $5 for my daughter to go to a pharmacy clinic. That was the actual charge. So that, man, that I do miss. I mean, America cannot touch the medical system in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. They can't. So okay. So another inexpensive thing as far as low cost of living, they have housekeepers. Man, you can get your whole house clean for 500 pesos. And typically 500 pesos converts to probably like 25 or $30 USD. Again, depending on the currency conversion rate. So, and it goes up and down. I know right before we left, man, the US dollar was dipping in value. It was dipping. It was getting down to like 16 pesos equals 1 USD. Whenever we went, it was like 18 or 20 pesos equal 1 USD. So yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the proximity to the US. Mexico is very, very close to the US. A lot of people, they want to move to Africa, they want to move across the Atlantic, but it's far. They're far from family, and it'll take you like 2 days to get home. So Mexico, you can be in the US in about 2 hours. Um, so it's a close flight home if you have emergencies, or if you prefer to come back home to your own doctor, every 6 months, or you need to update your visa. You can just it's super close, super duper close. So that was a benefit for us because I still had my mom in the US. I had one of my children in the US. She was living with her dad. So it was so convenient. And even in Costa Rica, it was very convenient as well. Number six, there were a lot of activities. There was so much stuff to do. They had the fair, they have malls, restaurants, parks, the beach. Like there is always something going on in Merida. They're a very family oriented country. I'm gonna say country because I have noticed a lot of foreign countries are very family oriented. But I mean, when you go out in Merida, you see all generations. You see the mom, the grandmother, and you see the children. The whole family is just out enjoying themselves. You see, people pushing wheelchairs of elderly family members. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that I really enjoy. And I eventually brought my mom to Mexico with us, and she loved it. She enjoyed it. She got sick again, and I had to take her back to the US, but she really enjoyed herself. Okay, so I said number seven. Number seven was that it's family oriented. So I already elaborated on that. Number eight, The weather is warm year round. Now, Merida is known to get very hot, and it usually hits the severe heat comes around in about April, the end of April, May, and June. It's like super hot. So I'm gonna be honest, if you're going to just visit Merida, don't go during those months, around the end of April, May, and June. Don't go. Now, July is rainy season, but I kind of like the rainy season though. It just kind of reminds me of when it would rain when I was little and I was sick from school, and I used to just stand at the door and watch the raindrops. I don't know, just very nostalgic for me, but I don't know. I like the rainy weather, the rainy season in Merida. Um, so yeah, typically you have a lot of people from Canada, from the US that come and actually live part-time in Merida during the US and Canada winter months so that they can get away from the snow. And I think they call them snowbirds. So I hope and pray, once I reach a certain age that I'm able to do that, because I'm thinking now, instead of just totally living full time in another country, I definitely want to live part time in the US because my family is here, all my business affairs are here. This is where my money is at. And I would love to live part time in another country. So I can definitely foresee myself being a snowbird as well. All right. Oh yeah, and they also have the beaches. There is a beach, Progresso Beach. There's a few other beaches around that area as well, but Progresso is one of the main beaches for that area. It's about maybe 25, 30 minutes from Merida. So it's a nice spot. Some nice beach clubs that I can recommend are Kokomo Beach Club. There's another one that a lot of people talked about. I think it's called El Hagay. I've never been, but again, I saw a lot of people talk about it. So yeah, you definitely have that. I think I mentioned that in number 6 when I said it was a lot of activities. I mentioned the beach. Number 9, Merida is 4 hours, 4.5 hours from Cancun. Actually, a lot of expats, what they do is they fly into Cancun and they take a bus called the ADO to Merida because it's cheaper that way than flying straight into Merida. Flying straight into Merida is can be very expensive. So it's more cost efficient to fly into Cancun and get on the ADO bus and come into Merida. But if you're a very impatient person and if you just don't like being on the road all day and you tire out easily, just go and fly straight into Merida. Because if you do it that way, if you fly into Cancun and get on a bus, you're gonna have a long day ahead of you. You just go ahead and plan for a long, long day. Um, but yeah, a lot of people like to visit Cancun. I never hung out in Cancun. I would only strictly fly in and out of Cancun. That's it. I keep telling my children we'll probably go back and visit one of these days, but for whatever reason, like before I started like researching, I'm gonna be honest, I never really was interested in like any other part of Mexico other than Merida. I really wasn't. And you know why? Because we hear a lot of things on the news about the kidnapping, about the crime, the cartels and stuff. And so when I heard about Merida, like I had tunnel vision. And then I noticed when I would go to Cancun and fly in and fly out, it was just a different vibe there. I would always have issues there. So that's why we never really went and hung out in Cancun. All right. So now I'm actually on number 10. So there's a lot of expats, a lot of American expats in Merida. So you'll hear it pronounced Merida, but the local population, they call it Merida. So you will hear me say it interchangeably. A lot of American expats. So you won't be alone. You won't be the only expat there. If you go to Walmart, man, you're gonna see a lot of expats in Walmart and a lot of expats in the malls and Costco. I think I saw a lot of expats in Costco. Um, and then for African Americans, we have a large African American expat community out there. A lot of they're pretty tight knit. Yeah, just like anywhere, you do have your issues with some people, but for the most part, the African American community out there is like really, really tight knit. A lot of people host events at their home, luncheons. A lot of people sell food out there. We actually sold soul food out there because there weren't any soul food restaurants. So it's a lot of business opportunity out there. Be a pro as well. I didn't write that down. Um, okay, so let's get into the cons. Oh my God, I'm already at 25 minutes. I was not trying to make this video that long, you guys. So I'm just gonna zoom through these cons because again, I'm really out of my comfort zone for real. Like, oh my God, I just really don't like public speaking. Yes, I was in the military, but I still didn't like public speaking. I don't like to be the center of attention. But I'm gonna be honest, I love YouTube. And I don't know, the older I get and the more life experience that I get under my belt, I just feel like I have a message. I have a message that I want to put out. I want to put out some wisdom, some information out there that could possibly help someone. So, yeah. So I'm coming out of my comfort zone a little bit. All right. So, con number one is the language barrier. They are a Spanish speaking country. Okay. There are some people who speak English. Not very many, but there are some. Typically, you'll find like a lot of your professional people, your doctors, lawyers, university students, a lot of them speak English, but for the most part, most people speak Spanish. So, what I would recommend if you know that you're going to visit the area or even move to the area, at least learn basic Spanish greetings, introductions, basic terms. Where's the bathroom? Good morning. How you doing? Up, down, round and round. Just at least try to learn the basics. You can download Duolingo. That'll help you learn some basic sentences, basic words. You can go to YouTube. Yeah, you can go here on YouTube and learn some things. And then even when you get there, there are a lot of cultural exchange courses and classes, people that will teach you Spanish. Also, you need to download Google Translate. That is a lifesaver, okay? That's what got me and my family through a lot of things. Google Translate. Um, so yes, so try to learn a little Spanish, at least the basics, greetings, introductions, where's the bathroom, things of that nature, and download the translator, okay? All right, con number two, the food. Okay, now for this particular area, the Yucatan, I wasn't that crazy about the food. I know a lot of other people wasn't that crazy about the food. I noticed there were a lot of cornmeal products, just a lot of like corn tortillas products. I don't even know how to word it. Um, so and not a lot of seasoning in the food. Like, when we went to Costa Rica, the food was the bomb. Ghana, the food was the bomb, but, Merida, nah, I didn't really like it. I didn't like now, that is Mayan territory, so I guess a lot of the dishes were, like, tradition Mayan dishes. Now, they did have some good street tacos, I would say that. Not Street tacos aren't like the tacos in the US. You don't get all the lettuce, tomato, what else? Sour cream, cheese, and all that kind of stuff. It's just basically meat, cilantro, and onion, but they were good. That was good. Now they do have a lot of American restaurants out there, but I just wasn't crazy about how they season the food though. I mean, you got McDonald's, you got Burger King, you got Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, KFC. You even got Church's Chicken out there, Carl's Jr., Texas, what is that? Texas Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse. I can't remember the name. They got a Wendy's out there. Um, but again, I don't know. I just didn't like the food. So we cooked a lot and we even opened an online restaurant, which is known as a ghost kitchen. It has another name to it. I forgot. But we sold dinners. So we actually, you're not going to find collard greens there. You're not They say you're not gonna find grits there, but they have what's called polenta, which is supposed to be like grits. So, but you might want to bring that stuff with you. Now, you can't bring in fresh collard greens. You're gonna have to bring in your canned greens. So we brought a lot of cans of glory greens. We bought a lot of grits. We brought a lot of black eyed peas, lima beans, a lot of dried and canned food. And we actually even sold some. We actually had an online grocery store. We did that. We sold plates. Also, another thing is hair products, black hair products. There's not an official hair store there, but there is a young lady that sells, she has an online hair store. That she's supposed to be getting a physical location by August. I don't know the status of it, but her name is Bad Luck Kitty. You can find her on Facebook and you can even find her here on YouTube. She is opening up a physical hair store, but again, right now it's online. That was another thing that we did out there. We brought in a whole bunch of hair care products, weaves, wigs, jam, edge control, and we sold that as well. I built a website for that. So, yeah. So another kind. So bring your hair care products with you because if you're going to buy them out there, they're going to be more expensive. And you can't get mad at somebody because they sell some Blue Magic grease for $7 because see, you have to pay import fees when you bring a bulk amount of stuff into the country. You're gonna have to pay import fees on that stuff. So that's got to be rolled into the price of your goods, and that's gonna shoot it up. Like I literally saw this in Costa Rica. They had a hair store in Costa Rica, and everything was double the American price because of import fees. Another thing, I'm sorry, let's go back to food really, really quick. So they have some good grocery stores out there. The groceries are like the same price as the US. But check this out, right? For US brand foods, it's more. Again, going back to the import fees, they pay more, you got to add that import fee to the price. So, shoot, you might pay $10 for a box of Golden Grams or a box of Fruit Loops or something. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you want your American food, you're probably going to pay more for them, more than likely. Okay, let's go on down the list. Number 4, bad traffic and bad drivers. The traffic is terrible. I mean, there's only like a small window of where there's not a lot of traffic. I want to say it's probably uh, mid-morning 10 to 11, or maybe the end of the morning, maybe 11 to 12 or something like that. But the traffic is always bad. The people can't drive, even though they're like nice people. And I got another point here. I'm gonna tie into this. Okay, I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna bring this up. Mañana time. Like they take their time doing stuff. Like they're always late to appointments. Like if you got a maintenance man coming to your house, he's late. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, y'all drive crazy as hell. So how are you late and just walking up like it's nothing? They can't drive. They will take a 2-lane highway and turn it into a 3-lane highway. And then they have these things called roundabouts right up under their interstate. Instead, and the interstate is called the periferico. So instead of there being red lights right up under the interstate, you know what I mean? Like in America, oh, they have this roundabout. So you just gotta take your turn and get out there. It's crazy as hell. Excuse my language. It really is. We had so many close call accidents. I mean, I we just stopped driving. It just really got stupid, like for real. They really need to, I don't know, they need to do something about their traffic system. The roads when you go downtown, which they call Central, get a little thin. I don't like that. So you really have to pay attention to detail. There are a lot of motorbike drivers, motorcycles, scooters, people on scooters, and they like to cut in front of you. And sometimes you don't see them in your blind spot. I actually saw one. I don't know if he was dead. He was laid out on the ground, and the police was around him and all that stuff. He wasn't moving. And I've noticed that even in Costa Rica and Ghana, they have a lot of people on scooters and stuff, and they will cut you off. I mean, you be done almost hit like 12 of them a day if you drive, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So that I did not enjoy at all. Um, Okay, so I know that, okay, maybe my ADHD is kicking in. I want to go back to the grocery stores real fast. I just thought about something. The grocery stores, a lot of the stores, not just the grocery stores, the malls, clothing stores are hella crowded. I mean, crowded. Like, and people, they'll just stop right in front of you, start having a conversation, or let's say you're sitting back looking for something, they'll just come right in front of you and grab some, like they'll just step right in front of you and they won't say, excuse me. Hell, they won't even say it in their own language, disculpe. Like, excuse you, get out of my way. Like, oh my God. It got really bad to the point where I hated grocery shopping there. I hate grocery shopping in the US. I order a lot of my stuff, but it was very hard for me to order it there because I had to translate everything. I had to find, like, if I wanted to order groceries from Walmart, I would have to translate everything, every item to Spanish, and then, order it or whatever, look for it and add it to my cart. I did that in Costa Rica a few times. For whatever reason, it was cool in Costa Rica, but in Mexico, I could order 50 items and they was only going to find 10 of them. So I think that was a part of the headache. And in between Costa Rica and Mexico, I went back to the US for about 2 months. So I kind of got used to not ordering groceries again. So when I tried it in Mexico, it was just an epic fail, just an epic fail. I would find myself getting very overwhelmed in the grocery store, or the one or two times where I did order groceries. I absolutely hated it. I hated it. Now there were some things that I used to order through Uber Eats, like, okay, we need some milk. We out of milk. That was easy. That was simple, but not ordering a whole bunch of stuff. Man, I would be so pissed off by the time I would come out of the grocery store in Mexico. It was just ridiculous. I hated it, hated it, hated it. Um, Anyways, let's move on. I won't, beat the dead horse on that. So let me go back to talking about mañana time. Again, these child, you get someone to come clean your house, fix something in your house, they're gonna be 2 hours late. And they're gonna make you late. So don't plan nothing the whole day. Just don't plan nothing at all. Just because they're gonna be late and they're gonna make you late, and you're just gonna be pissed off, overwhelmed, frustrated, and ready to punch a wall or something. And I found myself like that a lot. You got to be a very patient person when you go into these foreign countries, because they don't move like the US. They're not in a rush. They're not in a hurry, except for when they driving, which I still don't understand that, but whatever. Maybe they rushing because they are late. I don't know. So yeah, so mañana time. Okay. So number 6 is price gouging. They know you from America and you got that bread, you got that money. So they will try to charge you. Like if you're in a market or if you need a service done, they're going to try to charge you more. For housing, you're going to get a different price than what a local will get because they feel like Americans are rich. They feel like Americans got that money. You know what I'm saying? And they don't realize that shit, we struggling just like they are. That's why we moved to their country because we couldn't afford to be in America, or we chose not to be in America. We chose not to take place in the ridiculous inflation. But I'm gonna tell you this: inflation is worldwide. Like groceries, housing is going up everywhere. Even though it's still, such as housing and medical, even though it's still less expensive in the US, it's expensive for them, for the locals. Okay, number 7. So Merida can get very hot. I think I elaborated on that earlier. It's known as one of the hottest cities. So that's a con. I mean, really, it's not a wise idea for you to even go outside between the hours of like maybe 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Like stay inside. A lot of people stay inside. If they don't have to go nowhere, they won't. You know what I'm saying? You know, it can get really hot. I've been kind of, looking at some friends of mine's, looking at their Facebook pages, and they've been complaining about the heat. It's gotten up to like 111, but it felt like 117. So yeah, the heat can be very, very critical, very severe. Now they're having a problem with the energy grid. I know I'm giving it the wrong name, where it's just overwhelmed, so the lights are going off a lot. The electricity is going out a lot. It's just a bad situation right now in Merida. It's really not a good time to visit. Like I said, the end of April, May, and June is just not a good time. It's just way, way too hot. You really can't enjoy yourself because you can't really sit outside because of the heat. Not even the beach is going to help it. A lot of people have pools in Merida. You will notice a lot of the homes have pools. But shit, it's too hot to get in the pool. So I don't know. It was just very critical. But I did so last year we went to Merida February 2023. We left to come back home to visit the US in May of 2023. So I kind of got to skip a lot of that hot weather. We didn't come back to like almost July of 2023. And so we pretty much did the same thing this year. We left Merida. This time we left in April. We left April 11th. So we got to skip out on a lot of that severe hot weather. Which leads me to the next point, a lot of outages. I know I kind of hit on this earlier. I know we experienced a lot of internet outages, water outages, um, electrical outages. And, I noticed that even in Ghana. I don't know if we really had that in Costa Rica. I'm really starting to realize Costa Rica wasn't too bad. It was just my son who couldn't really get adjusted. And there were some other little things I didn't really like about Costa Rica, but it wasn't that bad though. But yeah, we had quite a few outages there in Mexico. Let's see here. Number 9, household goods can be expensive. Yeah, furniture. I even noticed like a strainer, like where you strain your noodles and stuff like that in. Like that was like $10, like ridiculous. I did find a China mall, like my last month there, where I found some things that were inexpensive, and I found a place called Gutsa in Leandro Valley, where household stuff was kind of inexpensive. But if you buy it from Walmart, Chedraui, or the mall, or any of the major stores there, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for vacuum cleaners, for strainers for plates, for glasses, things like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, try to look for the China Mall or Gutsa. You can get some pretty inexpensive goods there. All right, number 10. So let's get to the hospitalizations. Even though routine medical appointments can be very inexpensive, hospitalizations can be very expensive. My mom got really sick there. One hospital wanted to admit her. They wanted me to pay $4,000 up front. And I was like, nope, point me towards the cheaper hospital. And they did. And luckily, they didn't admit her. They were able to just give her a prescription, give her some instructions on how to take care of herself and how we can help take care of her to make her better. And so I didn't have to pay that. But yeah, I've heard people paying as much as $20,000 on hospitalizations. ER visits, expensive. For my mom, I paid a total. She went to two different ERs in one night. So I paid a total of 900 and something dollars between those two ER bills. My son got sick. Now, typically, I would take my children to urgent care, but my son had already been having some stomach issues. So I wasn't sure of how severe it was. So he needed some diagnostic testing. And so his bill, he was only there for like an hour, 300 and something dollars. And this is your private hospitals. Now, I was hearing a lot of mixed things about whether or not expats can go to the public hospitals because the public hospitals are cheaper. My doctor told me there was one public hospital that we could go to, but we would still have a bill, but it would be a lot lower. And then someone else told me there was another public hospital right beside Alta Brisa Mall, not Star Medica. Star Medica, if you've been to Merida, you know what I'm talking about. Star Medica is a private hospital and they are very, very expensive. But there is a public hospital across the street from Alta Brisa, right across the street from Soriano's grocery store, which is in that mall. That's a public hospital. I was told there were some expats that went there and they didn't have no bill. There was even one guy that had like heart surgery there and he didn't have to pay nothing. I didn't know about that until like literally the last minute, till after I took my mom. I had to bring my mom back to the US because I didn't know how, I didn't know how often she was going to keep getting sick. She had they ended up diagnosing her with a kidney injury. And actually she actually got sick again to the point where she couldn't swallow and stuff like that. And so I got her out of there quickly. I like literally booked the plane ticket, I booked a plane ticket. We left out the next morning, straight out of Merida. So she got Medicaid, Medicare. So it was just better for her to be in the US and just utilize her benefits instead of me keep coming out the pocket. So after I took her back, that's when I found out about the public hospital right across the street from Soriano's. And I'm kind of pissed because I took her to, when she had the emergency event, I took her to Star Medica, and they told me to go to Medimac, which is in Uptown Plaza, and they didn't even tell me nothing about the public hospital that she could have been seen for free. So anyway, hospitalizations are expensive, okay? If you're hospitalized in a private hospital, again, I don't have enough information about the public hospital, so do your own due diligence and research. I have also heard if you do not pay that hospital bill, they will not release you. And or they will hold on to your passport. I have heard that numerous times. So that just was not a good thought. Like, that wasn't a good thought in the back of my head. That really started to mess with me, started to bother me. But then I guess once I kind of heard about the public hospital, my anxiety level went down because, I was like, well, man, people leave the US because they always say, you're one medical emergency away from going like bankrupt or whatever. But shoot, the same thing could happen over there possibly. So the verdict is up in the air. You know, you may or may not, as a expat, be able to go to the public hospital, and if you can't, then man, you better have some money saved up. I had the money. I could have put my mom in the hospital, but I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, we need to, look at another option or whatever. I didn't want to, use all of my money, paying for that. So, but yeah, yeah, do your due diligence and research that. If you know you got some serious health issues, just don't come to Merida. Stay in America. Stay in America, okay? Because you could possibly be one that's paying those high hospital bills. Okay, anyways, moving on. Don't want to beat the dead horse about that, but that is an important issue. So I'll leave that up to you to do your own research. Um, oh my God, you cannot drink or cook with the tap water. Okay, number 11. You can't do it. I mean, we bought so much water there, and God forbid if we ran out. If we ran out, we could just order some water. That was easy to order, through either Uber Eats, or they also have a delivery service called Rappi there, Rappi. But if it's the middle of the night and you don't have no water, and it's like, oh my God, or let's just say, hell, you broke. Shoot, you waiting on payday the next day and you ain't got no water, you're SOL. Um, Supposedly the water, okay, now I know I have it wrong. It is full of one of those minerals, calcium or something, and it can cause like kidney stones and stuff. And the water is not good. You can bathe with it, you can wash your body, wash your hair with it, but you can't drink it or cook with it. And to me, your skin is your largest organ, so it's still getting in your body. But I digress. I digress. Yeah, you're gonna have to buy a lot of water. Now, some communities, they do have water trucks that come around, but keep in mind a lot of them only take pesos. So make sure you have some cash on you. So when the waterman comes to your neighborhood, he can drop you off a couple of bottles, big old bottles. I think they were like 20-liter bottles. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm starting to forget stuff. But yes, we had to buy a lot of water. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Oh, along with number 11, along with the water issue, toilet paper. In a lot of places in Mexico, you cannot flush your toilet paper. Their sewage system is just not built to break down toilet paper. Now, I was told before I moved into my home that I could flush the toilet paper. And once we moved in, and after about 3 months, we had a sewage problem. But a lot of that stuff backed up. It was coming up out the shower and everything. It was a bad problem. So we had to get a plumber out there, and luckily he was able to fix it. But that's a very hard habit to unlearn. So what do they do with the toilet paper? You throw it in the garbage can. It's kind of like when you change a baby's diaper. You put it in a bag, tie that thing up and take it out. What you do with your tampons and stuff like that. Except for with feces, you don't leave it just sitting there. You put it in a bag. You put it in the bag, tied up, and again, like I just said 2 seconds ago, go throw it out. Just be adamant about throwing it out. In a lot of the neighborhoods in North Merida, I didn't really see a lot of trash on the ground, in my Pravada or whatever. Now, when we first got to Mexico, we got catfished into this ghetto Airbnb way on the south side, and it was trash everywhere. And at the time, I didn't even know that you couldn't flush the toilet paper. So that means it was feces everywhere. But for the most part, on the north side, you don't really have to worry about like contamination and all that kind of stuff or whatever, like you do in a lot of African countries and stuff like that. They were very clean and hygienic with that practice. Okay. Okay. I guess that's pretty much about it as far as the cons. I do have one more, but I forgot what I was gonna say. It was about the schools. Oh yeah, there are international schools there. But a lot of people homeschool their children. So, because a lot of people's children don't speak Spanish. So you may have a difficult time with finding a school in Merida. And I noticed even though I wasn't paying much in rent, I was paying a lot for homeschool, because my children were doing virtual school. So it's like, I don't know. I was paying like over $800 a month for school. At one point, I was paying $1,000 a month. And then I started paying 800. I changed around one of my kids' school program. She was going to a micro school, which was awesome. Loved the teacher and everything. But I thought for a minute there, I'm like, you know what? I, I kind of got mad at Merida about a few things, but I wasn't prepared to totally just uproot and leave at the time. So I thought I was going to be able to travel, kind of keep Merida as a home base. So I switched her to an online program. So my costs ended up going down to, let's see, yeah, about 800. But that was for the 800 was really for two children. But even though you may not pay a lot in rent, you might end up paying a lot in homeschool. So I don't know if you're really saving money. And that was a big thing with me. Yeah, a lot of things are less inexpensive than the US, but are you really saving money? You know, I ain't gonna lie, my expenses was still hitting 4Gs and 5Gs a month. Like, so I personally I didn't see a whole bunch of savings. I didn't. I don't know. And what I've heard is typically that first year that you're trying to get settled in is the most expensive. And maybe that's what we went through. Um, so I don't know. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to leave the comments on for now. Typically, when I post videos, I do not like to leave the comments on. I turn them off because people can get very, very disrespectful, and I can get disrespectful back. Even though I love the Lord and I'm trying to be a Christian, I'm trying to walk in holiness. God is still working with me on certain things. So, but anyways, I hope this video helps you. I wish you the best of luck. I wish you many blessings in your expat journey. I'm not one for like giving financial advice, okay? So, if you got financial questions, how much can I live off $1,500 a month? It all depends on your lifestyle, what you like and what you don't like. Okay. Me basically my channel is mostly geared towards travel vlogging, um, visiting these places, seeing like the touristy sites and tasting the food. I really wanted to just be more focused on that. I really don't want to give people a whole bunch of financial advice and all that kind of stuff. And but hey, I'll try to answer whatever questions you have. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for your time today and take care. Bye.